After a nationwide search across the country, the journey to crown the Insurance Apprentice Season 10 began with over 150 aspiring contestants who all shared the burning dream of becoming the ultimate ambassador of the insurance industry.
I have what it takes to win the Insurance Apprentice.
I want to be the best.
It's now, it's today, or it's never.
I'm here to win.
Your time starts now.
Working with my group members, there was significant friction.
It's stressful. It was my idea.
I just have a tiny little problem with Tristan.
Who was the most destructive?
Shivani and Jason.
We're going to fail at this task.
You spend a lot of time arguing about nothing. I actually don't know what you are addressing.
I wouldn't invest a single cent in your business.
Following a series of intense eliminations, our judges faced the trying task of selecting the cream of the crop, our top 10.
Congratulations to make it to the top 10.
Top 10, baby!
Top 10! Top 10, baby! Yeah!
Week after week, these hopeful apprentices were confronted with the grueling challenges that put their resilience, teamwork, and expertise to the test.
The tasks are going to be tougher than they've ever been before.
You are the hunter. Don't be hunted in this competition.
You have to bring your best every single day.
I need you to treat this like your only opportunity to show us why you're here.
No one is the Insurance Apprentice yet.
There's absolutely no leniency.
There can only be one winner.
And while some contestants got along like a house on fire, others clashed like fire and ice.
We have different personalities.
Well, that's your opinion.
There are a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Timwa and Shivani could have put the egos aside.
We've actually, someone's getting eliminated from our group. I've led the team to failure.
Mandy just does not listen.
Everyone wants to be heard or thinks their idea is the best.
I'm walking around with a big X on my back. We are not getting it right. I'm gonna tip you on that.
We are done.
She may have shot herself in the foot.
I do not know anymore. I'm in a panic. I'm shaking.
You wanna get rid of a snake? Cut off the head.
With the goal of outshining their rivals and summiting to success, the contestants endured unimaginable time pressure and a series of daunting presentations, all to win over the judges, which didn't exactly go as planned.
There were a lot of things that went wrong in this group.
Guys, what was that?
I'm not getting a good sense of your understanding of what is required.
If I can ask you just for a moment to close your eyes.
I kind of woke up and regretted that it wasn't a dream.
I felt like I was yanked out of my sabbatical to sit through a class of business training.
You're sounding like a politician right now.
You start your presentation with an insult.
It was unprofessional.
I just think there was a complete lack of depth.
You've taken me to Cape Town via Botswana.
You guys are insurers. Come on.
Siobhan, I feel like we're having the same conversation over and over.
Okay, maybe I'll get to the point.
Quicker, please.
Never ever do that again.
Anyone else can take it. Not Jason.
Okay.
I was a little disappointed.
I'm very disappointed.
Simon, before you pull out,
I'm out.
Under the spotlight and amidst their daunting interrogations, some shining stars emerged and ensured their path to victory.
So amazing to see how you performed today.
For the first time, I felt something.
You were the best today.
I was very impressed.
You can pat yourselves on the back for that.
Congratulations to the contestants for making it this far.
And just as the contestants were gaining momentum, they encountered a few stumbling blocks.
I'm going to cut to the chase. You need to choose one person who's going to go and sing for your supper.
When the judges walked in, I was so shocked.
There's a second person that's going to be leaving us today.
Anyone is up for the slaughter.
We're going to have to get you to decide who leaves the show today.
I could literally be on the chopping block.
Write down the name of the person that should leave the competition.
Throughout the season, we've witnessed tough decisions,
There is no clear winner.
victorious celebrations, and ruthless eliminations.
Someone is going home today.
I voted for Tristan.
Tristan.
This is the end of the road for you.
I'm devastated that I've just been eliminated.
I honestly don't think I deserve to go home.
I don't think I deserve to go home today, but I do believe I've served my purpose.
I'm happy with the way I played the game.
The numbers dwindled as contestants were sent packing week after week until we were down to 3.
You are our top 3.
You guys should really pat yourselves on the back.
1, 2, 3.
Top 3!
Who will be crowned the Insurance Apprentice Season 10?
And then there was one. Welcome to the TIA 2025 info session. Our aim is to, I think at the end of the day, convince you to enter, or at least try to go through the experience that will change your life. Today's about making sure you understand what entering TIA 2025 means, what is expected from you, what it is that the judges are looking for, why entering might be a good idea, how long you'll be out of the office, and how important every step is that you take. For those who have followed TIA over the years, you'll know that we always have a few twists every season, and this one is no different. Our move to SABC 3 looks like a reality. It's something we've been dreaming about. It's something we have always worked towards, because at the end of the day, we need to change the perceptions of what insurance is all about. We want to make sure people choose insurance as a career, and this is how we're going to do it. It's the final signage from SABC is not yet there, but I think we can say that we're 90% there, that we will be on SABC 3. The amazing news is that we have a headline sponsor, and that will be Sasria, which is our best partner that we could have wished for. They are equally passionate about bringing change to the industry. Another exceptionally exciting addition is, on top of all the prizes, Lloyd's, an extension on the Lloyd's strip with someone else, and I'll confirm that soon, is that the winner will win, courtesy of Aon, 100,000 Rand cash. Listen, 100,000 Rand cash. And there's a few amazing things we are also working on. So if that does not make you think about this a little bit more serious, then nothing will. Another twist in the tail, and it's only a very, very recent decision that has been made, is that we are bending the rules because we can, slightly. It's always been a rule that you need to be 35 or younger by time of filming, and that you have 4 or more years short-term, any part of it, short-term insurance experience. I have been approached by a few people who believe they have what it takes. With our move to television, it means that our tasks might not be as technical. It means that we can open up this to a wider application pool. So the requirement is, you still need to have some experience in short-term insurance, any part of it. But if you've been in the wider industry, and with that we mean life, investments, medical schemes, UMA short-term, any of those, if you've got wider experience in the industry and you've made a recent move to short-term, or you were in short-term before your 4 years, you moved to another part of the industry, then you can enter. We are addressing a lot more socio-economic issues, innovation, and we believe that that is something that anyone who has knowledge or experience of any part of the industry can do. So please spread the word. This is some exciting news we will be officially sharing very soon. Quick program is our winner from 2023, Christopher Oppenaar, liabilities and salvage head claims, liability salvage at Bright, is going to give us a bit of insights into his journey, why he entered, a brief share of his week, and why and how he experienced it and what happened. After that, I'm going to have a panel and also introducing some other exciting news to you. But I think for now, it is over before I take the stage and talk the whole morning. I think it's over to Christopher. Welcome, Christopher, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Leonette. Thank you, Leonette. And also welcome to all of the attendees. I think this is the first step that you're taking towards entering quite a interesting and exciting show, especially considering where the show is now going, where this competition is going. When Leonette asked me, to present today, I thought to myself, I had recently presented at the SAICB conference on my journey on TIA. And I thought to myself, I'm going to follow that same sort of structure. I said to Leonette the other day, I'm not going to give you any inspirational mumbo jumbo. I'm just going to tell you like it is and tell you what my experience was and what it could be for you. I think first and foremost, you have to start with your why. Why are you entering the show? And people enter the show for various reasons. It could be for personal branding. It could be for, learning and growth. It could be just because I was bored one night and I entered, which is similar to the story that I'm about to tell you. Now, something that I don't share very often is that I am a cancer survivor. And it was during that process of going through the whole chemotherapy situation where I counted the cost of my life up until that point. I mean, I was 29 years old. And when you're 29, you think you are immortal until one day you are faced with the immortality. And so during one of my chemo sessions, I just sat down thinking about all the things that I had done in my life up until that point. And I started counting the cost of everything. You see, Chris, pre-cancer, was extremely ambitious, very competitive, very, very, very competitive, to the point that I would do anything to get to where I wanted to be. Some might call that a bit of a charming trait, but it's quite toxic if you think about it. And I sat there and I thought about my actions up until that point, and I realized that there had been a high cost that I had paid. And so as I tallied everything up, I realized that what actually matters is, not actually the cost. What matters actually is the cost, but also the return on investment. And so there was a shift in my thinking. I started to be very considerate about the costs that I would pay from a life point of view for the things that I wanted. And so, long story short, Chris, post-cancer, much more fully rounded individual, someone who's very considerate about what they do, very intentional, who lives in their purpose. And so you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with me entering the Insurance Apprentice, and how does it relate to you? Till now, I still believe that the Insurance Apprentice is one of the things that I invested in that paid the biggest return on investment, or the cost that I paid there would have the biggest return on investment. And I say this because the journey is truly transformational. I think if you've been following me on social media, you would have heard me say that my journey on the Insurance Apprentice was a journey to a version 2.0 of myself. And I still maintain that up until this point. The thing is, the show throws you into this environment where you experience a level of learning, development, and growth that you would ordinarily just experience over a period of years. I mean, when I started the Insurance Apprentice, I was quite stiff. You'll see on the first episode, very, very stiff, standing, didn't know where to place my hands. It was a lot because of all the cameras. And as the show progresses, you start getting more comfortable. And it's not the comfort with the studio, with the cameras that matters. You start getting comfortable with yourself. You start realizing that I'm here to give it my best. It is for no one else but myself. And so that level of comfort within yourself that you develop is something that's short of amazing in such a short period of time. I've relayed previously that my experience on the Insurance Apprentice helped me get over that stumbling block of chatting to individuals who are more senior to me. You know, presenting to a board of Exco, for example, was a bit difficult for me previously. There's a sense of nervousness that used to creep in all the time. And after the show, it became far easier to do those sorts of things. Now, I want to talk about the actual week that you were there. So in that week, you meet some incredible individuals that you would have already met during the elimination rounds. But in that week, there's this bond that forms between you because you are effectively ripped from your families and you have each other in a secret location during your filming week. And so why that's important is because the connections you make there are quite intense because it's sort of trauma bonding. It is magnificent because things can actually happen after that you know far past the show, and you're there to sort of support each other. Now, if I have to sum up what filming week is like, I'm not going to lie to you. It is one of the most nerve-wracking experiences. It is. It's not all, you know, unicorns and butterflies. It's quite intense. There's a lot of stress that you experience, but the point is that you develop a thicker skin, you develop coping mechanisms, you develop ways that are not toxic to deal with these stressful situations that you'll start to experience in your corporate career or would have experienced previously, but weren't quite equipped to deal with them. Now, I've summarized the three themes, the three things from the Insurance Apprentice that was relevant to me, and I think it'll be relevant to you. And very briefly, they were discomfort and growth. Now, the old adage is that no growth comes from being comfortable. You have to step outside of your comfort zone in order to experience, you know, strife, to build resilience, to grow as an individual. The thing is, the Chris that emerged after the show was a far better version of the Chris that I was previously. And I'm not saying that I was deficient in some way previously. What I'm saying is that whatever I learned during the Insurance Apprentice process, the competition, the week, the entire process, in fact, from the elimination rounds, gave me tools that I now still use in my daily interactions from a corporate point of view, as well as a social setting. Now, when you look at exposure, so exposure is the second theme. Exposure is one of the things that I learned far later in my career that's important for your forward sense of motion, your forward growth. Now, whether that growth is going up the corporate ladder or that growth is about, you know, growing and developing as a fully rounded individual, you are going to get that from the Insurance Apprentice. The exposure you receive is amazing. You meet such amazing judges. The judges are just incredible. I mean, Muzi is on the call as well. He's one of the judges I met. And you build relationships with them outside of the show. And that's all up on you rather, to build these connections. And so these individuals that you meet are far more experienced than you, have done amazing things in their lives, and you can draw and leverage that experience to grow yourself. I think another old adage is that you learn from your mistakes. So really, really clever people learn from their mistakes. The really wise people learn from others' mistakes. And so I found that during the Insurance Apprentice, I was able to connect with these individuals and learn from their mistakes, have these robust conversations around, you know, corporate things, but also about life. And you get such a diversity of views when you do that. And lastly, it's connection. And I've mentioned it earlier on. The connection with your fellow competitors, your fellow colleagues. It grows. It's such a strong bond. And look, not all of you are going to get along, but you're going to build this little tribe that you can lean on, you can speak to, you can build great things with. And so, for example, we did I had this idea a very long time ago to have a forum where we discuss various claims issues. And so we can support our younger and more, less experienced guys coming into the market. And so after the Insurance Apprentice, we decided to form what's called the Claims Forum. And that was that was something that we founded with the competitors from the Insurance Apprentice in my year. So Marissa, Deirdre, Wayne. And we created such an amazing initiative that has grown leaps and bounds within the insurance space. More than that, the connection that we have amongst each other is quite intense. We support each other outside of work. We support each other with work issues. We support each other as friends. And we've built such an amazing friendship, which has long persisted past the show. All in all, I cannot recommend entering the Insurance Apprentice enough. You have to do it. It's such an interesting concept. It's something that Rionette has built so amazingly with her team. It's something that I said to Rionette, that her dream has enabled other people to fulfill or achieve their dreams. And that's true. It's absolutely true for me. If anything, enter. If you don't make it past the first elimination round, it's not a huge thing. You meet people there, you grow there, you learn things there. So, that's my final message. Just do it. I've said it repeatedly, like a Nike commercial, but absolutely enter. You'll enjoy yourself. You will have the best experience. It'll be one of the biggest highlights in your life. And if you win, even better, you'll probably be joining me on the trip to Lloyd's next year. Cool. Thank you, Reinat.
Thank you. Thank you, Christopher. That was amazing. I can listen to you giving this talk over and over because it really inspires me. So I hope you've convinced a few people with your words of encouragement. I'm now introducing my panel discussion with Temwa Nyerendati, a 2024 winner. He's control lead, Santam Broker Solutions, and will lead the conversation with Alicia Naransamy, digital transformation leader at Santam, and Muzi Dladla, executive at Sasria, who will be our headline sponsor for SABC3. They'll be talking about everything TIA, and if you have any questions, this is the time that you can pop it into the Q&As, and we will handle that together with their discussion.
Thank you so much, Rionette, for firstly hosting the session. And, hearing Chris's story for a moment there, I actually thought he was talking about me. Because it seems like we all went through the same experience. And that's something I actually realized as well when I read everyone's responses in the TIA magazine. But yes, so everyone, thank you for joining the session. And as Rionette has said, this is a panel discussion I'm having with Alicia Naransamy, who's the executive head of innovation and disruption at Santam Specialist Solutions. And, Alicia, I want to admit right now, I spend so much time on your LinkedIn because your career growth is just so inspiring. So I'll come forth and admit that right now. The path you've paved is, I'm the poster on the wall kind of guy. So I'm admitting that right now. And joining us as well is Muzi Dladla, Executive Manager of Stakeholder Management at Sasria. How are you doing, Muzi?
Well, how are you doing, Timur?
I'm well, thanks. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the gap is between my knowledge and yours, because every time I hear you speak, I know I've got so much to catch up on. And I'm so glad that I'm having both of you here. And, most of you know you for your positions, and I'm fortunate enough to have got to know you as friends of the Insurance Apprentice, and as, the guys who are always there from a sponsorship point of view, Santam and Sasria. And I've seen you guys invest so much time into the show. Personal time, personal effort, as well as, utilizing company resources to be a sponsor in this. And I think to kick off this conversation, I'd want to know, why do you think it's important that you guys invest so much in the show, and what urges you in your personal capacities and in your positions, to be friends of the show? I think I'll start with you, Alicia.
Sure, thank you for the question, and great question, right? Because most people see us, going around hosting these events, hosting these internal events, Temwa, which we had last week.
Yeah.
And why do we do it? Well, for me, as an ambassador of TIA, my journey obviously started in 2016, coming into the apprentice realm. And people often ask me, why did you stay? Why did you stick with the show? Why did you stick with the journey? And I said, because it's bigger than just myself, and it's bigger than just the few people that we have around today. This platform is really a powerful opportunity to impact the lives of others. And wow, what a difference that we can make to the future generation of those who come into the insurance industry. And that's why I stick with it, because of the benefit it yields and for the impact it has on our industry to do the right thing, to create the powerful leaders who's going to take the industry forward. And hopefully some point in time, my daughter joins, in another 20, 30 years later. It's up to us to make the right decisions now about where we want to take the insurance industry, and which better platform that can really provide the framework for it than the Insurance Apprentice.
Thank you. Muzi?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think there are a couple of reasons. I think the first one, which is probably for me the most important one, is industry growth and innovation. And by that, I mean the insurance sector generally is a whole lot bigger than people accept it or understand it to be. One, and we need to spread the word to the entire South Africa as to what really actually insurance is about. So participating in this type of a show in particular, and I'm reluctant to even call it a show, because it's an innovation in itself, because it highlights things that people would not ordinarily see. It fosters certain level of innovation that people that are operating in their spaces do not get the chance to showcase and learn from. Christopher mentioned something about having been in a space where he was rigid. He was used to working in a silo in an entity. So what this show then allows you to do, it allows you to grow beyond that, to look at insurance as an entity, as a business, as an industry. I mean, if you look at the task, they go beyond that. They go as far as looking at a sovereign level as to, if you are given the pen to write something and make a change on something that is an actual problem, what innovation would you apply, and how would you let it grow and expand? And then the other one is customer education, which is one of the biggest things for me. Customer education is one of the biggest things. South Africa's society is very divided, and it's very, in terms of socioeconomic issues, it's the spread is just too big in between. And only those who can afford can actually get to understand how insurance is and what it is and how they could participate. It also has the potential to absorb some individuals that are not as skilled as other industries would allow. So insurance can actually absorb all of those. So the education component and making people understand what insurance is and how wide it is, for me, is the second most important thing. And then the last one I would say is the talent pipeline that we actually are building here. Example, again, is you, as well as all previous individuals that have been ambassadors of the show. There is no single one of them that has not progressed quite substantially from when they entered the show to where they were. And I'll go as far as to say it's not the winner mostly, it's everybody largely that are in the top 10, because that's where largely the spotlight is in. So I think those three things for me are the main reason why we should be investing in something like this, and why the show is important.
And when I initially entered the competition, what I was expecting and what I received from the show are complete different opposites of each other. And I had to go through the process to see what I was actually looking for. And perhaps I can bring it back to you, Alicia. Why would someone want to enter the show? And maybe why did you enter, and what was your journey like? And did you receive what you're expecting, or did you get more?
Well, I'll talk about my journey very, very briefly, and then I'll articulate why people would need to enter, right? So my journey started, as I mentioned, season 2, Insurance Apprentice. The flyer came past my desk and it said, could you be the next Insurance Apprentice? And most of us, answered in our head, all of the top 10 from all of the past decade, and I'm sure everybody said, yes, I can be the next Insurance Apprentice. And for me, if I hadn't, I've articulated it in the podcast, the TIA podcast. Shout out to that, by the way, guys. Please go and check it out. It really like unveils the narrative about what TIA is and unpacks some of the journeys in greater detail. Too short for today, so please do check it out. But as I mentioned there, if I hadn't entered the Insurance Apprentice at that stage, I wouldn't be here today because I was a young, I would say, lady back then, and I was in KZN, small office, regional office, and who would have thought? I didn't think that I had a shot, from a region to go up and compete with the who's of the industry at that level. But I took that step. And what holds us back, really, if we ask ourselves? Because if I ask everybody, why do you want to enter? Why don't you want to enter? And I think as human beings, fear is the first thing, right? I'm scared. I'm fearful. I don't have what it takes. But Ralph Emerson sort of eloquently put it like this: what we fear the most is usually what we most need to do. And I took that and I ran with it. And I said, fear aside, I'm going to put myself out there. And I did. Obviously, I landed back then it was top 3. Rianette has just confirmed I am top 2. So I will wear that with pride. And to Muzi's comment, it's not necessarily the top 1 that has this exponential career growth, right? I want to take just 2 seconds, Tiamat, to really tell the story properly here, because most people think that once you enter, and also companies, right, and sponsors, once you enter the top 3, the top 5, or the top 10, okay, we're going to lose them. It's not the case. I resided within my company for 5 years then. And offers did come, but I did not jump here and there purely because I knew my journey and my growth, and I knew what I needed to do. And most of us are honest with, if you have to ask yourselves, do you want to get there? You do want to get there, but do you need to grow? Yes, you do. And I think that's a fundamental question that we all need to pause and also think back on. Growth is there, and the capacity in which you are allowed to grow is there, but you need to do the work to get there. And in those 5 years, I did the work. I was then fortunate enough to join the specialist business at Santam. And yes, I moved in that short space of time 5 roles. But it's also testament to putting your head down and doing the hard labor. However, the Insurance Apprentice did give me the platform in which to, put myself out there, network, build relations, get exposure, which was phenomenal. And so if you're sitting in this audience thinking, yeah, but Alicia, I'm not, you or Muzi or Temwa, I don't have what it takes. You don't know that because you didn't see me 10 years ago. You're seeing the Alicia of today. And you have to enter to understand what Chris is talking about, that growth. Because I attributed it to a mini MBA, having done the time and paid the price of an MBA. I know what I'm talking about. The growth that you get, the tasks that you receive, the insight, and the knowledge sharing. Like, let's just talk about the knowledge sharing, Temwa, because this is like an incubation hub that you're immersed into for these 5 days. And the knowledge sharing between your colleagues, leave alone the judges. Yes, shout out to you guys, you're great. But the knowledge sharing within these people who are the apprentices is so powerful. And also people often ask me, as a speaker of digital transformation and in my role, etc. Alicia, can you teach me how to speak publicly? Guys, this is your opportunity here. When we were called on to sort of pitch to the executive members at the Insurance Apprentice back then, Rionette would remember it was all about elevator pitch, elevator pitch, one-page document. How are you going to pitch it? And often we say practice doesn't make perfection. Practice for me is permanent. The more you speak, the more you talk, the more you're in that environment, getting those learnings, you really, really grow. So yes, the platform gives you an opportunity for exponential growth. You should put your fear aside to enter. And also, you've got nothing to lose. You've got everything to gain. And start your journey today because it's the biggest reward you'll give yourself, leave alone everybody else, but do it for yourself. So that's just my short snippet.
Thank you so much for that, Alicia. And you know, I recall my journey on the show. I remember the first round, and you were a judge at the first round. It was sponsored by Santam. And I remember telling myself that, what have I done? Or why am I here? You know, and I actually vouched that if I'm eliminated at that stage, I'm not coming back because it was that brutal. And it was only later in the competition where I truly saw the value and what a huge mistake it would have been if I didn't come back, if I was eliminated. You know, and I try and have these conversations with some of these contestants last year as well to say, guys, go back. There is actual real value in there, you know. And maybe I can take it to you, Muzi. You know, a lot of people, we have a lot of fallen soldiers, if I can put it that way, on this journey, and they don't want to come back. And they say, listen, I entered already. I thought I could be the insurance apprentice. I was eliminated. Maybe I'm not good enough. Why would you encourage someone to go back? Why would you encourage someone to enter again?
I think the reason why they should is because anybody who hasn't done anything that has shocked the system, does not share anything, or does not improve to the degree that they never believed that they could. I mean, it's all psychology. There's a particular model that is called the cognitive behavioral model. So it suggests that, and I think it aligns with what Christopher was saying, that he had to go through an intensive amount of scrutiny, an intensive amount of being uncomfortable to get his 2.0, which he is now, from the 1.0 that he was before. So all it means is that you have to go through something that is so outside of your comfort zone that you have to be pretty much burnt to the ground for you to be rebuilt. So the cognitive behavioral model, all it says is that anything and everything that you allow as a thought to get into you, it affects your feeling ultimately, which ultimately changes that feeling into behavior. So you cannot behave differently or change the way that the world sees you or the way that you do things until you've gone through that process. Christopher mentioned that he used to be afraid of sitting and talking to board members and exco members. Now it's almost like he's talking to friends, you know, because he has gone through that process. And the whole idea of mini MBA, I love it because that's exactly what it is. Those who've done an MBA, you'll understand that within a very short period of time, you get taken through such an intensive amount of work that you just have to put in. And it's easy to give up at that moment. Now, the question is, does everybody who applies the first time to get an MBA get accepted? No, they don't. Think of it as the TIA being the only entity or the only institution currently that allows applications to come in. And you will have to try and look at yourself and apply the learning that you're doing it, because then you are taking thought, you are feeding information in, the feeling will come in at some point, and the behavior will actually ultimately lead you to being able to get through. And all it is really is just so that you face the real world experiences, which will ultimately lead to personal growth and development, because personal growth and development is ultimately what we all need to go through.
Yeah. Timbo, if I may just add on that, you know, those who come back, they actually have the experience. They have gone through that journey. phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So you kind of have an upper hand. Why aren't you coming back? You should be first in line when those invites go out to say, I have a familiar feeling. I've gone to this stage. I know what I need to do to get to the next stage, right? For me, it's failing fast and failing forward, which is what I drive in my innovation hub. So you've done it. You've taken the first step. You might have gone, okay, you weren't accepted, fair enough. But you know what it feels like. You've had that POC moment, right? So step back in, because this could be your time to shine.
And as you mentioned that, I remember when I was there were a couple of people that came back. And I think Shivani was one of them. And when we asked her, why did you come back? She said, listen, my journey wasn't finished. I still had something to prove. And just to go back to you again, Muzi, because now it seems like there might be a bit of confusion, because I know the perception out there is that the person who should apply should be this perfect being in the insurance industry, and us going through the journey, we've seen that it's hardly that. It's more so the person who can improve the best. And I just want to understand, maybe from the judges' perspectives, what is that the judges are actually looking for when you're there with your papers and taking score? What are the judges really looking for? Maybe I'm giving it out to potential contestants here, but if you can enlighten us, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. I think the first thing is that you cannot fill an already full cup. So going into this, you might be an expert in your area, or you might know something. It's always best to go in there really with an open mind, understanding that you'll be dealing with really diverse range of issues that are probably outside of your comfort zone. So the first thing is, don't come in thinking that there's one way of doing things. The real world doesn't work like that. There are many different ways, and there's no right or wrong answer as well. All it is that first, we're looking for someone who is able to collaborate, because it's not about you, really, ultimately. If you look at the journey and everybody who has won, it has always been the individuals who are smart enough to understand their strengths, their limitations, understand other strengths and limitations, and try to, form a tapestry of all of those strengths. Because if you look at it in a chain, you are as strong as your weakest link in that. So if you are going to be the strongest, and while everybody else is weak, guess who's the weakest link in that? It is the one who is as strong as whereas everybody else has got the same amount of tension. So it's not about necessarily you there. If you go there because you want to make it about the task, make it about the exercise, ultimately, which is the same type of mentality that even in business you need to apply. The person who is the biggest, the strongest, is not necessarily the one who always wins. It's the one who knows how to play and all of that. And then the other thing which is quite important as well is that it's not just about technical skills as people think it is. It's definitely not. It's a variety range of things that you need to ultimately improve on. How you articulate an issue, it doesn't have to be the best issue, but how you connect the dots, how you take the input of everybody that's in the team. Because if you don't, when you go out there, you might have the best one, but if you discarded something that one of the team members has mentioned, it was quite important as well. When you get there, it's going to show. We're going to see the disconnect from a distance, and that counts against the entire team. So it's more about working together with other people and having the desire and the drive and not personalizing it and making it about the task and not about you.
And I remember in the first round, while Alicia was judging us, she posed a question. And after that question, she gave us some really sound advice on how we should have probably articulated that question and how we should play the game going forward, And I think that changed my attitude and my approach towards this whole competition. And perhaps, Alicia, you can enlighten us how important a person's attitude plays on their journey in this competition, or this pilgrimage, I like to call it.
Yeah, such a valid question, but I think, attitude extends beyond the TIA journey. Let's just talk about attitude for a second in general. I always tell my team, I can teach technical skills. If you come into the apprentice, you learn very, very quickly, right? You can teach the technical skills, you can teach to a certain extent the soft skills, but I can't teach attitude. And if you're coming into the apprentice, with a certain attitude, you've got to put it's similar to what Muzi said, right? When working with a team. And I think it's so potent for us to also acknowledge the time and the environment from a socio-political stance that we find ourselves, where there's not enough sound leaders. So if you're coming in, sorry, my Mac wants to run an update. Apologies. If you're coming in with a very cocky, I know it all, I don't need to teach anybody. And I also, Tim, when judging, I walk around. And Muzi, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but the moment you walk around to the groups and the cohorts, the loudest one is always like, oh, and this is my idea, and I, I've come up with this, etc., etc. Tim was putting his head down. He knows what I'm talking about. But what I want to say is that in my year, a judge said something so powerful. He said, I wasn't looking for the loudest one in the room. I wasn't looking for the cockiest one in the room. I was looking for the individual that's like a glue that sticks everybody together and forms this cohesive gel that when you move, they move the team forward together. And that's why attitude is so important, to get the attitude right, to get the thinking right, to come in knowing that as a team, yes, individually I will stand out in the journey, but as a team, I've got to get this team mindset right. And in order to do that, I can then accelerate. So yes, attitude needs to be on point. Energies, guys, coming into the room, how you, and it's not just for the TIA, right? It's just how you show up daily. I mean, if you're coming with this draining energy that life is doing you wrong, and there's no growth in the insurance industry and everything is just going downhill, what do you expect to attract? But if you're coming into the room saying, I can do this no matter how far I get into the apprentice, I can make a difference to even the person sitting next to me, and you bring yourself, you bring your whole self, and you bring a positive energy, I promise you that we pick up on that. And it actually is infectious and beautiful and lovely to watch.
Let me just add this very quick one, which I mentioned in the podcast, the first podcast, is that if you think of three rings that intersect somewhere in the middle, right? First one being attitude, second one being desire, and then the third one being technical skills, where all three of these intersect. And you can actually look at them, attitude being the biggest ring, then the second biggest being the desire, and then the technical skills being the third small one. Where they intersect at that sweet spot, it is that spot that the judges are looking for, with the various weightings of the proportions of the three. When you intersect those and superimpose them like that, it is that we're looking for. How it looks like, you can interpret it whichever way that you want, obviously, as a player. That's up to you, how you actually deliver on that.
And I like how you mentioned this, especially with attitude, because there's one person last year that stood out for me throughout the entire competition, and that was Kibafense. I was in the same team with him in the first elimination round, and he told me, he said, listen, this task is it's mostly based on commercial insurance, and I only have personal lines experience. But what shined from him was his attitude to learn, to bet himself, and to collaborate effectively with the people who have, better skills than his. And you'll find that throughout the competition, most of the bright ideas were coming from him. And just to show that he had that desire to go as far, and he ended up in top 4, and he could have easily won the competition. And I would have been happy if he did, because he surely deserved it. All of us did. And thank you so much, Muzi, for putting it like that. And, Alicia,
you said something very important about Kebafense.
Yes.
In his sort of journey, he only had personal lines. And the viewers that are watching and the people who want to apply, you probably think, I only have personal lines. Some of the tasks are commercial. I was also that person when I participated. And I want you guys to know that at that stage, I had a little bit of commercial, not specialist, but I predominantly had personal lines insurance, and I made it to top 2. Kebe made it to top 3. So don't discredit yourself saying, I've only got personal, I don't have enough technical, because like the circles that Muzi was alluding to, you can have this innovative solution that will really wow the judges. And we are balancing, you know, various tasks. So if you have personal lines insurance only, don't discredit yourself, don't count yourself out, please apply.
Yeah. And Alicia, I just want to take back to your journey as well. And perhaps this we can give clarity on what the film week looks like for potential contestants if they make it that far. For us, well, the top 10 was filmed in a single week. And we obviously had the single day events, which were 1 and 2. So what can people expect? They've made it through the application phase. What does that timeline look like, and how much of time will they spend away from the office?
So many people who look at it think like, you know, this is long. It's actually not. It's not as long and drawn out, and people are often, you know, despondent because they're like, I've got to go to my manager, I've got to ask for leave, etc. Let's put it back to a money MBA. Normal MBA takes 3 years. You're going through that journey. The Insurance Apprentice filming is 5 days, right? Exclude the elimination rounds because that's just like half a day out. It's 5 key days. And what you really can expect is you're staying at a residence for those 5 days. You're filming consecutively. You're not really going away for several weeks from your company and your work, etc. All we're asking to invest in, you know, yourself at the end of the day is these five key critical days. The elimination rounds, I just want to also add, when we run it and we run it towards the end of the year, we generally run it regionally, or it sort of kicks off at 8 or 9 and it'll run through the days, but you'll have different activities. So that's just, you know, an extra day there. But it's not as people think that, you know, it's starting here and then I've got to go in through like the new year and then filming week, and then no, it's not the case. And I just want to make that point out. But through the journey of it, what we would love to see, you know, is your interaction and your growth, because that's the journey and the work that you do on your own, right? We're only asking for 5 days, but the journey and the work that you do on your own. So just be mindful of that when you enter. We really aren't asking you for several months.
And what I actually liked during the film week is, yes, we were staying at a residence, and the filming was happening at a different building. So the residence was sponsored by Standard Bank, and we were actually filming at the old Mutual building, and everything was accommodated. We were accommodated everywhere. So we had food, we were fed, breakfast, supper, lunch, even transportation. We would get a shuttle every morning to make sure that we arrived there on time and were ready to film. And after filming, we went back to our residence. And I actually made a joke on the first day as we were in the shuttle going there. And I said, "Oh, guys, isn't it so sad that tomorrow the shuttle's going to be a whole lot lighter, knowing that someone will be eliminated?" But I just want to find out as well. So it's a film week, 10 contestants, or how many contestants are there filming. What do they do if they eliminated early? Do they go back to the office? Is the trip cut short?
No. So remember, you've booked yourself out now for these 5 days, right? Take the rest. Geez, everybody's on overdrive in the insurance industry. I'm sure one of you who are applying make it to the top 10. If you are eliminated, I do apologize, but take the time off. You know, often we don't, as human beings and as busy people, reflect. If you're taking that time off, reflect on your journey. Reflect to come back the following year, but you're not going back into the office. And unfortunately, and you're not communicating the fact that you were fired by Judge Dredd in any way, shape, or form, please. We do value, confidentiality as we're filming. Do not share, any details about the filming, how amazing the camera crew is, or what they've asked you to do, please. But you're not going back into the office. You're taking that time out, and in that time, I really implore you guys to reflect on that Insurance Apprentice journey. And then thereafter, when they start airing, Rionette will definitely communicate with you guys, and Rionette sometimes over communicates. Like she is the communication queen. She'll make sure that you are so structured and equipped for everything. And often I find, like, when you enter these programs and platforms and even these travel trips away, these business trips, etc. Sometimes it's so poorly communicated. What's the next step? What do I need to do, etc. And I just want to assure the people who are applying, the structure and the framework that is provided by the TIA committee is sound and solid. And you'll know exactly what to do. It will be communicated. It's often over communicated in some way, shape, or form, but there's no ambiguity about what you'll do next, about what happens next, etc. And I think that's just a shout out to the TIA planning team, because they're so solid in how they equip and prepare these apprentices.
Yes, no, definitely. I know Rionette is to the T organized, and she makes sure that you're there on time and everything.
No pressure,
And,
really.
and perhaps Muzi, I can bring you in here. As a leader, one of your reports comes to you and says, "Listen, I want to throw my name in the hat. I think I can be the next apprentice." And I'm sure a lot of leaders out there see that, there's this time off and there's a week and they don't want to lose their person because, insurance is always moving, they need capacity. Why would you encourage an employer to, let their person go and take part in this mini MBA? And why should they not fear this person being poached or losing this massive talent from the organization? Should that even be a fear?
No, that should not be a fear at all. In fact, I think most entities would encourage this, because most entities out there, they pay for even MBAs for study. Remember when I started in the insurance sector, the first thing that I was required, it was a requirement that I had to do a COP. I don't know if it's an old certificate of insurance. It was a requirement. So the idea is to improve the individuals that work for an entity so that they are able to carry out the duties in a way that is good. And at the same time, if you look after individuals as a company, you also are actually doing it for the industry. So everybody that should be participating in this, I don't see any. I mean, I know a lot of people in the industry. I don't see any of the insurance companies refusing that, because it's not just for themselves, it's for the industry. We're doing it for the industry. We're doing it for the individuals as well, the next leaders. People are getting old and they're moving, and we need a whole lot of new people that are coming in to take it forward. So this, for me, is something that is encouraged. The same reasons why you pay a salary to individuals, so that they're able to do the job, so that the job aligns to your objectives are delivered, your shareholders are happy, ultimately. And I mean, what a great, I would say, compliment to say that you are appointing somebody who is so good and they work for your company. I think it's good publicity for companies, actually.
And I know in our season, we were very active on social media. As the episodes were airing, and obviously that was after film week, and we could only speak to a certain extent what happens, and we could only speak after the episode has aired. And I'm sure now new contestants will be asking, "Listen, I've seen the entire top 10 on social media. Do I need to be a social media guru if I'm taking part in this competition?" And as well, how much can they reveal after film week? What happens after film week?
Should I go? You want to take it first?
I'm not sure who is pitching it. I don't know.
Okay.
Any of the two
All right.
Anyone. Okay.
I'll cover the social media part. I think, if you ask me personally, I think being part of the show and Personal growth, they go hand in hand. And part of personal growth for me is personal branding. And personal branding goes a long way in creating deciding what it is that you want to be known for and driving that narrative. And social media is a great tool that helps you to do that. So I would encourage people who enter the show and being part of it to actually do consider, first of all, how their LinkedIn account looks like, what picture they have, what is it that when people look at them who don't know them, think of them. So if I think of myself as my personal mission statement, it is certain things that if I get feedback, when people look at my profile, my profile, it has to align. So I think that alignment is quite key. And if you're doing it, this show can help you to elevate that to greater proportions. I would encourage that a great deal. Nish, I'm not sure if you want to take
No,
the one.
I do want to come in. So,
Yeah.
like, many, you would think, right? Many young people would think that with the millennials and the Gen Zs, that they all on social media and, need to be social media moguls, have cameras that flip into ring lights and always. It's not really the case. Not everybody is an extrovert. Not everybody is an introvert. Some people live in the ambivert space, and that's okay. It's okay because of what I'm going to say next. With the Insurance Apprentice, and I don't want to steal Rain's thunder about what he's launching, but we are looking at, a group of individuals, an alumni, who will then, after the apprentice, after the filming week, take you under our wings. And we've got a lot of wings. And if that gives you a sense of comfort, because you might not know where to start. Where do I start? What do I say? Am I saying the right thing? So personal branding and, putting yourself on social media, you might do it to a certain extent, but you might feel the pressure of how much I put out there. Don't. I want to extend it, that message to you. Don't feel the pressure, because we are creating this environment and this team that's going to support you and support the journey and channel it through. And also, how when leading up to the platform or leading up to the show, etc., if you do get stuck, if you do need support on, crafting the social media identity, there's lots of people that I know, including, myself, Temwa, etc., who can help you. And who have excelled in some social, not me, Temwa has, in some social media, putting themselves out there, positioning statements, etc. And if you find that that's not quite me yet, I have what it takes, but I really don't think that I'm going to land this LinkedIn, Facebook journey. Don't be afraid. Come and chat to us. We've got some great tips. We'll give you some great advice about how to start, where to start, and then post the apprentice. Once you're crowned the winner, I don't want to take away too much from the next chat, but there's some support that is cultivated, and that goes for the insurers. Ties it into your question, Tema. Should insurers feel worried or feel concerned about them or their employees participating? And the answer is no. It's a testament that your employee has come through this academy of excellence that you've cultivated for them to put themselves out there. It's a testament of your strong brand that they will carry throughout the Insurance Apprentice, advertising that you've never paid for, and this person that's representing your strong brand. And once again, with the Insurance Apprentice and the winner, etc., we're not saying jump here, jump there. We're looking at how we create this environment where the apprentice is then inducted and supported through their journey. So don't be fearful about sending in your star players. Know that they're batting for your team at the end of the day.
As we close off this discussion, I just wanted to mention when my journey actually started. And that was when I was filling out the application form. And the critical questions that were asked there, it's not something I filled out in 5 minutes and, we'll see what happens. But there were critical questions that were asked there that I asked myself throughout the whole journey as well. I took my time. I understood who I was and who I'm going to be, because you have to bring your best self. And if there's anything I can encourage future applicants is take your time through that application form. Try and really understand and get help if you need to. And that's something we actually also mentioned in our session that we had internally, that if you need help to guide you in this application form, reach out to us. And I'm sure I'll be available if you guys do need any help to give that guidance. And that's where I'm going to close off our panel discussions, guys. I don't know if you have any closing remarks, any last motivational pushes. Muzi, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think people should just give it a try. Just give it a try. I've had a couple of people that spoke to me, asking whether I think they're good enough. It's not up to anybody to decide that you're good enough. I think the most important thing is that you just go in there and do it. An example would be, for instance, if you remember Anifa came from a marketing background, no technical expertise whatsoever, but understands the industry, and she went far. And there's somebody who also came to me as well asking whether they can do this. And the person is 34 years old and they feel like they are kind of too old, and they haven't really been in the industry for that long. They've been in the industry for 5 years. They come from a finance background, they do finances and that's all they know. That's what they're passionate about. They were reluctant. I was like, you're actually the perfect candidate because you're going there with the cup that needs a lot of filling, and then you have more potential to do better. So that would be my parting shots on that.
Thank you so much, Alicia.
Yeah, so from my side, often I hear everybody, especially, the younger generation, come up and say, there's no growth for me in the insurance industry. There's no growth in my job. There's no platform. Guys, this is your platform. Stop complaining. Take the shot because success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that's from Winston Churchill. So if I could leave you with a last parting comment, go out and do it. If you are struggling with imposter syndrome, if you are struggling, just shout out again, like please come and chat to Timwa, to myself, to any of the apprentices struggling with social media. If you're struggling to think that I have what it takes, come and have a chat to us. We'll definitely set you right because you can be your own biggest critic and your own biggest downfall. So take the shot, make the connections, start the journey.
And, my parting words as I hand over to Rianet is, guys, don't be surprised if my twin brother enters. He looks like me, but he's not me. So please, Rianet, if you see that application, it's my twin brother. I promise. But thank you so much, Muzi. Thank you so much, Alicia. And I'll hand over back to Rianet.
A nice try, Timwa. I know you don't have a twin brother, and you will have different ID numbers or not. So thank you for an incredible panel discussion. I think if you've got any questions, we don't have any questions in the Q&A session because I think everyone's questions were really answered. It was also good to see the participants stayed on for the whole discussion because it was incredibly insightful. Last but certainly not the least, 10 years down the line with TIA, and it was time for the next step, except for the TIA Talks, which is our podcast that we've launched this year. And we have done 2 so far. It is on Spotify. I think it's on Apple and it's on YouTube. Please go and watch it. It's insane. It's just incredible. Go and watch that. But I would like to hand over to, I don't know if Rain is on the line, but to Sipamandla, just introducing our next exciting development in this space. Your sound is off.
Clicked. There we go. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Rianet, for the opportunity. It's great to actually see a number of attendees this morning and very inspiring speakers. And thank you to all the speakers for their time. And I think I'll be honest, and I'm speaking as well for the attendees as well. It's been an insightful session, and I think we've taken very specific, skills and specific discussions to use, especially the people who are thinking of entering. I mean, if you have an enter, you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose, actually. So as Rianette has said, my name is Sipamandla. And I mean, we are really excited. We're working closely with Rianette and some of the TIA ambassadors. If you guys don't know, I also participated in the Insurance Apprentice in 2020, and I came third. What a great experience it was. And with this TIA alumni, we really want to further expand the interactions, and also just further expand basically the networking that the ambassadors have obviously built over the years. And the idea is, when you form part of the top 10, which is the finals, you will obviously get a very, very special invitation to join the group. And we've already established a LinkedIn page. If you haven't seen it, please go to our LinkedIn page, like it, because there will be great content that we'll be sharing. I think the first, content that we'll be sharing is we'll be spotlighting on a lot of our TIA, or a lot of our the Insurance Apprentice alumni members, who are obviously going to be the core of this group. And the one link is obviously the networking portion, but most importantly, we also want to create value for the alumni itself. And when I say value, and perhaps this is something that you should look forward to, we really want to make sure that we are fostering growth within the TIA alumni itself. And because we've got the director being Rianette, who's also quite close to sponsors as well, we'll have that link as well, where we work very closely with sponsors to make sure that the education elements, especially of certain tasks, is carried over. And there'll be specific events that we'll do. And I mean, in addition to that, we also want to create a foster culture of giving. Therefore, there'll also be some, call it CSR if you must, that will be very linked to the TIA alumni program. And we're really excited. And we're going to, please look out for the TIA, the TIA alumni page on LinkedIn when we start spotlighting the members, because it's really, really going to be a great platform. And we're going to definitely be giving you more information as we've launched this group quite recently, and we're very open to suggestions as well. And as the panel that was present today, they form part of the core group that's going to really drive the longevity and the long-term sustainability of this group. So we're really, really excited, Rianette. I can't wait. So thank you for the opportunity. And is there anything that perhaps you want me to touch on, Rianette?
No, I'm
I don't
happy.
see Ray.
Alicia, anything?
No, sorry. Yeah, Rain's not on. Thanks.
Yes, he's not on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sipamandla, for that. Yeah, we will share a lot more detail going forward. I think this was a great session. Llewellyn, you can spotlight me again.
You are being spotlighted.
I am. Okay. Why do I see you? Okay. There we go. Thank you, team, for an exceptionally insightful session. I think everyone has got all the answers they need. The door is open of each and every single TIA alumni. If you need to have a chat with anyone, if you need encouragement, if you need guidance, I am here. My door is open. Anyone knows they can call me at any time, email me at any time. My email is rianette@fanews.co.za. And I am looking forward to receiving your application. Thank you for attending.